Hey everyone, I'm Alison with Better Half Reviews, and today we are talking about Fluffy Dragons by LAMF Games. This is a Kickstarter game that takes an original game that you may know, rock, paper, scissors, and provides a twist and some bidding. So in Fluffy Dragons, there's going to be a few different things going on. You have your own element cards that you're going to be placing down, and you're going to be placing out your dragons, and taking bets on if you think people are telling the truth, then revealing your cards, and finding out who actually wins the battles. So, you have in your elements, you've got water, fire, earth, wind, and lightning. The way that this works is if you were to play down a water card, you would be able to defeat the next two elements. That's how far the water can reach. So water can put out fires, and water can help erode the earth. So that would win those. So fire can beat earth and wind, and so on. Okay, so that's how the elements work. That's a little bit of the rock, paper, scissors thing. But everybody has their own gems, and when you start the game, you're going to have an element placed in front of you that is unavailable. So for this round, I will not be playing earth. That is open knowledge. Everybody knows that. And now I'm going to pick out my element card that I want to play. I will place down a card. I'm not going to tell you which one. Everybody will do the same, and now you're going to do a claiming phase. So I place down, well, maybe I'll help you out. I place down water. But in the claiming phase, if I want to play straight, I can be like, yeah, I played a water card. And people can take bets anywhere between now and the revealing phase on if I'm telling the truth or not. So if I claim and say, hey, I played water, people are going to be like, okay, if she really played water, that means that she can beat fire or earth. But did she really? So let's say I'm like, okay, I played wind. So if I claim to tell the truth, they don't know that. But if I say, hey, I claimed water, everybody from between now and just before the revealing phase, you can choose to bet on if you think the people are telling the truth or not. So you can choose to bet 1 or up to 2 of your own gems onto here to be like, I don't think you're telling the truth. I'd be like, hey, if I'm red, I'd be like, no, I don't think you played on water. And maybe white can be like, I don't think you played on water either. So multiple people can bet on one person, but again, you can't spend any more than 2 of your own gems. And then play would continue, everybody else would play on the board, and so on. After that's done, everybody takes their unavailable element card back to their hand, that way there's no confusion, and then we move to the revealing phase. So, you reveal your card. Oh hey, you guys, I did play on water, and you bet against me. You were wrong. I told the truth. I get to keep their gems. So as you're playing the game, you're going to be getting different colored gems onto your player area, and that's good for points. But let's say, what happens if, actually I claimed wind, but it's a water card. So they called my bluff. They were right. I lied. So I claimed wind, but I played water. You're going to move your dragon to the actual element that you played, and then they're going to collect some stuff. So white, they bet 1 token. They can take 1 of my gems. Red, they bet 2. They get 2 of my gems. So we have some meeples on the board. We start with the active player, or the first player. So yellow, you're going to knock down your meeple to say, hey, I'm taking care of my battles now, the clash phase. I was able to defeat white, so I get to take 1 of their gems. Now we move on to the red player who's next to me. Place their meeple down. Oh, they were able to defeat yellow. They take 1 of my gems. And then move on to white. They were able to defeat red. They take 1 of their gems. That's how the game goes for a bit. Whoever was last in the round, so that would be white, they placed on fire. That's where they were at. That's where a lost treasure token is going to be. And then you start the round again, moving and rotating who goes first. I'll talk more about these lost treasure tokens in a second. So when you're resetting for your round, remember you have whatever element you just used is now your unavailable element, and so you'll choose a new card and continue on. play continues until either you're the last man standing or you have X amount of number of rounds depending on your player count. So with lost treasure tokens, they can be worth a good amount of points depending on your player count. They're worth, so if you're playing a 3-player game, as the rule stands now, it's twice the number of players. So that would be worth 6 points. Those are good. So that gives you motivation of like, oh, you know what? There's a lost treasure token on fire. I think I want to play your fire card because I would like to claim that. But if other people go there too, it goes to whoever went there first. So that's something to keep track of. But if you're just gonna go straight for a treasure token, I think everybody will know where you might be going. So it's like, do you want to go straight for the treasure token? Do you want to try to bluff and be like, oh no? Or do you want to stay away from it because everybody will think you're going to fire and then they're going to play cards that will beat fire? There's some nuance to it. You only get to collect the lost treasure tokens if you actually played that card. You don't get it if you're kind of bluffing, but you actually played water, not wind instead. So you have to actually play that physical card to get these. You can still like bluff and say you're somewhere else, but in the end, in order to get those tokens, you have to have actually played that card. There's one thing that we haven't talked about, and that's the sneaky dragon. So if you, let's say I played lightning, and I'm like, you know what? I played wind, or I played earth, and no one guesses that I'm lying, that I'm bluffing. No one got that. I am a sneaky dragon because no one caught my lie. You can choose to steal tokens up to the number of players that are playing -1. So in a 3-player game, I can choose to steal up to 2 tokens. There are some different scoring variants. So like if you get the rainbow score, it's like you're getting different colors from the different players. That can give you some extra bonuses having a variety of colors. Having your own tokens left over at the end of the game, they're 1 point each. Having someone else's is 2 points. And we already talked about the lost treasure being double of whatever the player count is. And that's how you count up your scores to see who wins if there's not just a last man standing. And that's Fluffy Dragons. Alright, so that's about the game. Let's talk about how I feel about it. So Fluffy Dragons is a very easy to get into game. It's got some familiar mechanics with, you know, like the rock, paper, scissors thing going on where it's like, okay, this can defeat this can defeat that, but that can't defeat this. That's easy to get into. And the nuance comes from your element cards and what you're playing, when you're playing it, are you being truthful about what you're playing? I think that's the part where it's more interesting, more fun. It's like, okay, so I know they can't play lightning, so that's not an option for them. But maybe I think they're gonna go for the lost treasure token, or oh, they said they played fire, but they kind of made a face, and I think they're lying. So that's where this game kind of becomes fun with the group that you're playing with. And you can have some fun zinger moments where you're like, no, I knew you were lying. Or it's like, oh, dang it, they were the sneaky dragon. Don't steal my gems. So this is a good game for a group of friends who are just ready to just go at it and have fun and not take things too seriously. Like, this is not a game where you're like, okay, I'm going to walk through all these strategies, and no, it's just fun and simple, and it's like, am I playing a water card or am I not? Am I? So it's a fun activity for friends to play. You have 5 dragons that you can play up to, and my one drawback is this does say it's 2 to 5 players, but I don't think it's very fun at 2. I think you need to have at least 3 to make it interesting, because in a 2-player game, I mean, you can't always control what elements are unavailable at the beginning, but you can have less interaction where it's like, oh, you know, I think they're playing fire, so I'm just going to play something 2 away. And there's not as much of a motivation to bet in a 2-player game, because if you're betting and you're wrong, you're just taking the tokens away from yourself. And I don't know, it's just, it wasn't as great at 2-player. It didn't feel as thrilling or fun, because when you throw in that 3rd player, no matter where someone's going, someone's going to be defeating someone unless you all randomly decide to go on the same space, which is not likely to happen. In that case, they're all friends. So I don't recommend this one at 2-player. Like it's quick if you want to play it, but I really think this shines better at like the 4 and 5-player count because it just gets a little bit more interesting and the game can kind of go quicker that way too. That being said, this game is a prototype, so what you're seeing here, some of these things will change. Like these are going to be screen printed meeples. Some of the art may change on the box. But yeah, it's like a quick small box game that I'd recommend if you have that 3 to 5-player range. If you're 2-player, this for me at least isn't my jam at 2-player. So all in all, Fluffy Dragons, I would say it's a fun game for a 3 to 5-player count. It's nothing to like just go all crazy serious about. This is a game just to have fun. The bidding and the bluffing is the fun part of like trying to figure out what people are doing at the table and like are they telling the truth? That's where you get the excitement. It's like, oh no, I was wrong, and taking the token. So it's not like a brain burner of a game. It's just it's a fun activity to do with friends and just enjoy lying to each other. I mean, maybe not. Maybe you just tell the truth the whole time. But yeah, so if you're interested in Fluffy Dragons, I'll put the link in the description down below. I'm Allison for Better Half Reviews. Happy gaming!